Alright, looks like I got everything set up there. Alright, hello everyone. We are going to start our very first Just for Fun story. Now, we'll really be doing this all year long. I will have one chapter posted every single day, and I'll kind of let you guys vote on the stories that we do over the course of the year. Okay, our first story that you guys voted for is Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roderick Rules. Now, this is optional to listen to all the stories. I would love for you guys to go to the library and pick out this story so you can read along with me. Maybe you can get a chapter ahead and see what's going on. But that's really up to you. Now, this story was voted on by you guys, but there was a couple other choices that came really, really close. So we'll probably be reading those ones next, okay? So, like I said, a chapter a day, and then we'll move on to our next story. Now, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, there are a couple movies out about this, as you probably know. This one was turned into a movie, so it might be fun to go see afterwards. It is by Jeff Kinney. It is a really popular book. The main character in the story is a little bit older. I might be omitting a few words or things like that throughout the story, as you'll probably notice. But for the most part, this is going to be our story that we'll read until we get to the end of it. Looking through it, I will share any pictures or anything that's going on in it. Kind of like what we do with our normal stories. But let's go ahead and we'll take a look at the chapter 1. Whew, okay, so Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roderick Rules. Okay. September, Monday. I guess Mom was pretty proud of herself for making me write in that journal last year, because now she went and bought me another one. But remember how I said that if some person caught me carrying a book with a diary on the cover, they were going to get the wrong idea? Well, that's exactly what happened today. Sissy Punch, my brother Roderick. Now that Roderick knows I have another journal, I better remember to keep this one locked up. Roderick actually got a hold of my last journal a few weeks back, and it was a disaster. But don't even get me started on that story. Even without my Roderick problems, my summer was pretty lousy. Our family didn't go anywhere or do anything fun, and that's Dad's fault. Dad made me join the swim team again, and he wanted to make sure I didn't miss any meets this year. Dad's got this idea I'm destined to be a great swimmer or something, so that's why he makes me join the team every year. At my first swim meet a couple of years ago, Dad told me that when the umpire shot off the starting pistol, I was supposed to dive in and start swimming. But what he didn't tell me was that the starter gun only fired blanks, so I was a whole lot more worried about where the bullet was going to land when I was about getting myself to the other end of the pool. Even after Dad explained the whole starter pistol concept to me, I was still the worst swimmer on the team. But I did end up winning, Most Improved, at the awards banquet at the end of the summer. That's only because there was a 10-minute difference between my first race and my last one. So I guess Dad's still waiting for me to live up to my potential. In a lot of ways, being on the swim team was worse than being in middle school. First of all, we had to be at the pool by 7:30 every morning, and the water was always freezing cold. And second of all, we were all crammed into the lanes, so I always had somebody on my tail trying to get around me. The reason we had to use 2 lanes was because swim practice was at the same time as the water jazz class. I actually tried to convince Dad to let me do water jazz instead of swim team, but he wouldn't go for it. If you ever need to pause the video to look at anything, go ahead. This was the first summer the coach let us boys wear swim trunks instead of those skimpy racing trunks, but Mom said Roderick's hand-me-down bathing suit was perfectly fine. After swim practice, Roderick would pick me up in his band's van. Mom had the crazy idea that if me and Roderick spent quality time on the ride home every day, we wouldn't fight as much, but all it did was make things a lot worse. Roderick was always a half hour late picking me up, and he wouldn't let me sit up front. He said the chlorine would ruin his seat, even though his van was something like 15 years old. Roderick's van doesn't actually have any seats in the back, so I had to squeeze in with all the band equipment. And every time the van came to a stop, I had to pray I didn't get my head taken off by one of Roderick's drums. I ended up walking home every day instead of getting a ride from Roderick. I figured it was better to just walk the 2 miles than get a brain damage riding in the back of the van. Halfway through the summer, I decided I was pretty much done with swim team, so I came up with a trick to get out of practice. I'd swim a few laps, and then I'd ask the coach if I could use the bathroom. Then I'd just hide out in the locker room until the practice was over. The only problem with my plan was that it was something like 40 degrees in the boys' bathroom, so it was even colder in there than it was in the pool. I had to wrap myself up in toilet paper so I didn't get hypothermia. That's how I spent a pretty big chunk of my summer vacation, and that's why I'm actually looking forward to going back to school tomorrow. Okay, that was Monday. All the chapters in this book are kind of separated a little bit differently. So you can see I have Tuesday right there, but we'll hold off on reading that until later. Maybe some days if we have short chapters, I'll read more than one, but for the most part, you'll probably just see one a day. Okay, so that was Mondays. Perfect for when we're starting with. Make sure you check the link for the chapter for tomorrow, and we will read the next one, and Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roderick Rules. Hope you guys are enjoying it so far. Bye, everyone.